Hey, it's the S22 Plus
and the S22. We'll make that last bit the intro.
Yeah.
Alpha team, this is Echo team. Level 1 is clear. Copy that, Echo. Proceed with caution. 10-4.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
This is Manpreet Singh.
This is Patwant Singh.
We're changing it up a little bit. So yeah, welcome to our video where we're doing the review of the S22 series by Samsung this year, which are, they're laid out in front of us. We ended up getting all of them.
There's a random case on here. Let me move that to the side.
Yeah, we have decased them, made them, in their natural form.
Natural habitat right there, yeah.
Yeah, birthday suits for you guys. But at the end of the day, we were really hyped up about these phones. We were, like you said that day in our unboxing video, we were quite giddy.
Yeah.
And we were.
There definitely was a giddiness, yeah.
And has that giddiness worn off a little bit?
I'm gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it has.
So let's just get into it with that as a transition. So the giddiness is there because there was so much hype because last year, and I'm just gonna give you a quick preview, I did manage getting one of these, which is the S21 Ultra, which we had last year, and you've seen them in all of our videos almost with Android stuff. So I was able to get this one. We'll talk about that after. But it was the king last year of Android phones.
Definitely.
S21 Ultra overall, the beast. So obviously with an S22 Ultra, we're thinking, okay, this can only be way better. You were extra hype because when we realized what the form factor was going to be.
Yeah. And I love the Note form factor. I'm just going to refer to it as the Note form factor. Yeah, it is officially the S22 Ultra, but man, it looks exactly like a Note. It feels like a Note. Everything about it is very Note-like. The S Pen, everything is just like the Note.
And you had the Note 20 Ultra.
I had the Note 20 Ultra as well.
Yeah.
Which, it functioned very, very similarly. Aside from the differences in the camera and stuff that there are now, there's a few subtle changes to it, but not a whole lot. So honestly, the changes and stuff that have happened, I'm betting that if you had a Note 10 right now, or sorry, a Note 20 right now, the Ultra model, you would probably not find too much of a difference between the two.
Yeah.
Like the cameras will definitely be different, but the actual user interface will be very much the same.
So that was the thing, right? The Note was sort of built for that power user, but the Note had good cameras. They didn't have the best cameras because that was reserved for the S20 and then S21 Ultras when they started with the Ultra line. There was a Note 20 Ultra as we just referred to, but they were like the same camera levels. It was 120 hertz on this display, but it was stuck at 120 hertz. Yep. So, them sort of merging the two lines, the two Ultra lines, it makes sense with what we have here in front of us. Mm-hmm. We have everything you talked about with the Note stuff, and then we have the cameras of the S21 Ultra pretty much with a slight modifications.
With just kind of putting an opinion out there, I do like the fact that they merged the lineup. Yeah. Right? And the reason for that is now I only have to wait for one device and not have to try two at two different times, Yeah. So I do like that they merged it. I do think that that's a pretty logical step as well, because if you're gonna have your Ultra phone be the top of the line phone, you might as well give it the S Pen and build it in. Because the Plus, which we will talk about second, we're gonna start with our baby, with the little guy, with the baby here, but you've got everything you need in the Plus, including the screen real estate. So
I'm gonna go with a little bit of a different opinion on you with bringing this guy into it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that after though, because I want to save that for the end. Let's do the review on these guys, and then we'll talk about sort of the comparison in terms of how that adds to my aspect of the review. Yours too, because you had it as well.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so let's start with the baby, hey?
Yeah, let's start with the baby.
So this is the Samsung Galaxy S22. Nothing else after that. This is the sort of the base model of the lineup. All of our phones here are either 256 or 512 gigabytes in storage. This is the same screen size as the iPhone 13 and 13 Pro, 6.1 inch display, smaller body. so it feels smaller. It actually finally feels like a mini or compact device.
Honestly, the bezels are much smaller. When you look at this, like you actually see the entire screen.
Yeah.
Like you see the entire screen. It's not like looking at an iPhone where you've got that massive notch at the top. Even the iPhone has their flat sides, but those bezels are thick.
Yeah.
And then they're much thicker at the bottom as well, whereas Samsung has this perfected. Like this is such a clean screen, and this
is the first time you're holding it, right?
This is the first time I'm holding it. I think it feels amazing.
Yeah.
This is the perfect size. So I have a feeling this is your favorite one of the three. But before you answer that,
okay.
Why don't you tell me what you didn't like about it?
There was absolutely nothing that's new that I didn't like about it. Okay, so let me tell you what that is.
Yeah.
It's just the Samsung camera shutter lag. That's it. Other than that, I love this thing. The battery life is 3,700 milliamp hours. They reduced the capacity because they went down by a 0.1 inch in screen size, because last year's model was 6.2 inches. But you don't feel it because the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor is that sort of, I guess you can say, good. And it's sort of...
It is a good processor. I have to agree with you there.
Yeah.
So is there anything that, aside from that shutter lag, that really bothered you about the phone?
Honestly, nothing. Guess why?
Nothing, eh?
The haptics are sick.
We're big fans of haptic feedback.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure they know about
haptic
that.
feedback is very important.
This fits
almost as important as you guys leaving comments in the video.
Yeah, almost. Not that important. Those haptics are way better. When we see a comment, that just kind of you feel it.
Yeah, we feel those haptics.
So this phone is the perfect size, easy one-handable, usable phone. Swipe everywhere, use it, camera. Even when you go like this, like you see how I didn't have to do crazy gymnastics, just flip it around. It's a slippery phone.
It is slippery.
And that's my only sort of, like, it feels so nice though. Like when you're touching it like this, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
When you're using it, it's a smidge slippery, but this one's not as bad due to the form factor.
Yeah.
Other than this, man, like I have no complaints with it.
Nice.
Okay. I actually think this is, last year the base model kind of wasn't my pick because, I mean, there's a whole story on how I ended up at a big phone with the Ultra, which we can talk about later. But last year they had a plastic back. This year they're all sort of...
This year they've upped their game. They're all premium,
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna also say the same thing.
Yeah.
Shutter lag is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
You cannot capture, with any Samsung camera, you cannot capture a moving, whether it be a small child who's running around or whether it be a pet. You can't capture that picture.
So this year I did something very specific because remember with the S21 and this whole series with the Ultra, I still complained about the shutter lag between our conversations, and I said I was so pro iPhone this year.
Yeah.
Like I even went to the full ecosystem by going with a watch, and the reason was because my son was born 14 months ago, and so I was capturing everything with my iPhone 12 since his birth up till date, transitioning into the 13 series.
Yeah.
And I got such nice photos and videos, obviously iPhone's got really good video, but the photos, whether they were live or not, and I did that test, they were crisp.
So I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a major knock against the camera. When you do that live picture, it's called motion photo on this. Live photo is on iPhone.
Yeah.
But when you do the motion video, the motion capture, it actually does seem to decrease the quality of the image.
On this one?
On these.
Yes, it does.
So I've noticed that, and I'm not a fan of that at all.
So here's the thing. My son's always moving, right?
Yeah.
You know him very well. But the thing is that the slight, like when he sits still, he's still gonna be like slightly moving like this. And the iPhone captures that clear as clear can be. Now, I got 1 or 2 photos of him on the Samsung, like through all of them that I was testing. He was sitting still, like head leaned against my chest, just sitting on my lap, watching something on the TV, like frozen. I got a really amazing couple of pictures with the regular S22 and with the S22 Ultra in that situation.
Yeah.
And it was really clean.
That's the problem, I'm gonna call it though.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is my absolute biggest problem with this. If there's a scene, it's an amazing picture because there's no movement. If it's a person who even moves very slightly, it could be a very subtle movement, it has this blur all around it.
Yeah,
and that's just, it's just so frustrating.
And it's not necessarily in the picture; it's on that person, on the subject.
Yeah, it's on the subject. So it's not like you've got all these cameras. Samsung has this partnership with Google. They need to do something about that. Like Google's got that tech now where they've got the double. When the image is taken, it's taken with both cameras so that it can completely remove any of that jitter. Like even if your hand's shaky, obviously that's going to ruin a picture, but Google's been able to merge that and just completely get rid of the blur.
For a company that I love everything about. And remember when we were talking about before the Ultra and the S21 Ultra came out, we were like, yo, Samsung can have the perfect phone if, and that was one of our very first videos on the whole channel. It was called the Android discussion. And Samsung nearly perfected it, but that shutter lag really wrecks a lot of potential capturing moments. Now, with my son, he's not moving ahead, he's not running around. Obviously, I get blur on an iPhone with that too. But then I have another subject that I check. We have this little dog at my parents' house, and he's obviously a little tiny little fluff ball. That guy's worse to capture on a Samsung. And on an iPhone, that guy is often blurred as well. So I mean, forget him on here.
Yeah, there's no chance it's gonna happen on a Samsung. So it's just like anything that's moving, you pretty much cannot capture it with these phones.
I know.
And that, that unfortunately is a problem that goes all the way down the board.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like the shutter lag on these Ultras might even be
worse. It is.
Right? And that's just...
Yes.
And there's no explanation for this. Like, I wish Samsung would just come out and tell us why that's happening. Like, I've speculated that it could be that there's too much processing going on with the image or something like that, where it's just... It's doing it instantly when you push the capture instead of doing it in post.
Yeah.
Like, why not just grab the image and put all the data as you can in that instant click and then process it afterwards? Like these new chips, like these Snapdragon, is so fast.
Yeah.
There's no reason why that can't happen.
And some argue they're better than like the Apple's, A15. So. Okay, so like we went off into a little rant here, but that's a problem across the board.
That's exactly. And we were supposed to go with, from this to this to this, but that's a problem that's across the board. So we need to get that out of the way.
Yeah, so that's our biggest gripe. And I'll bring, we have this guy sitting here. This is the S21 Ultra. We'll bring this up at the end of the video and sort of amalgamate the things that are, like that. The other thing with the cameras is that it slightly brightens the pictures.
There is a bit of that overexposure.
But I can live with that if everything else was great.
I think, so I never used the scene optimizer. Did you use that when you did your testing?
I did both. I took it on and
so I didn't use it because I found that it brightens it up even more. Yeah. So I had the scene optimizer off.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that when you're taking a picture outside, so right now we've got fresh snow. It's really the trees look really, really nice. And so you take a picture of them, and it just brightens them up a lot more.
It's like they got a halo.
Yeah, and it's actually just, it's crazy. So
there's
the over-processing is a little bit too much.
And there's one more thing in the Ultras, that if you go into photo mode, you go into the 108 megapixel mode, there's this little button at the bottom, which is called Detail Enhancer, which is an addition to Scene Optimizer.
Yeah.
And when I took a picture of just my desk with my keyboard, it overexposed that picture as well to try to capture the detail.
The thing is, the detail is insane.
Yes.
But there's not really a point of detail when the colors are all blown out and it doesn't look as natural as it does.
Like, look at this. Like, this much light is we're not seeing it in real life, right?
Like, this is a black table, but it doesn't look black in that.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll see how it looks when we edit the video.
Yeah.
But, okay, so at the end of the day, I mean, we're trying to get across the board here with it. So you had the S22 Ultra, I had it as well.
Yeah.
But I also picked up the S22 and the S22 Plus. And you did have some time with this, the Plus in your hand.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you again. The thing is, okay, so the Plus, I'll just tell you my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
They're the same as the one with they're the same as the regular S22. But I think this feels a little bit compact, and I like it. Like, if I had to pick one and just buy it, thinking with price, I'd grab this because it makes more sense price-wise. But if I'm not thinking that way and I'm trying to find the best solution for the least amount, I would go with this guy. Simply because it's big and they reduced it by 0.1 inch in screen size, so it's 6.6 inch screen, which is actually quite usable. It's light compared to the phone, the iPhone 13 Pro Max we compared to the unboxing.
Yeah.
And it's a nice size. Like, it fits in the hand. It's light. It's usable, and
It's
Android's a little bit
more comfortable.
Yeah, and Android's one more sort of plus for them is one-handed. You can navigate with the gestures a lot better than
and they also have like those, they bring the menus come down lower.
Yeah, and Samsung does that.
Yeah, like Samsung does that on purpose. So things are purposely halfway down the screen.
Yeah.
So that you can reach them easier, like writing a new message or anything that you're trying to do. For me, again, it's just the camera thing. Yeah. That's the only problem with this phone.
Now,
for me.
Like for all of them.
For all of them, yeah. Yeah.
So for me, this one, I got some really good like selfies in portrait mode. And I feel like portrait mode sharpens the picture up a lot. Like, they're really good on this one because I tested out with this one.
Yeah.
These two have the exact same hardware except for the battery and obviously physical size.
Yeah.
So either of the two, you'll get a really good experience. So you want a smaller one, you get this. You want a bigger one, you get this.
Honestly, in my opinion, I would go with the smaller one too for this one.
Yeah,
because it's the exact same device.
Yeah.
It's a little bit cheaper in price. And you've got everything you need on there. So if you're someone like me who already has a tablet as well, content consumption on the tablet. Your phone is for having it in your pocket.
Yeah, right. Run out of the house.
Simplify your life, right?
Now the other thing is, if you're going with this guy, it's like, okay, you like bigger screens, maybe you have bigger hands, maybe you want that battery life. Because this has a 4,500 milliamp hour battery.
Right.
This is almost 1,000 less. Okay, so it's 3,700 hours. So having said that, they're both great. This one will charge at 45 watts. This one will charge at 25 watts. Okay, that's the only difference between them.
Smaller battery though. This is still charging pretty fast.
Yeah.
So that's not really a problem.
I was in Wi-Fi only. It was on airplane mode, no SIM. It wasn't even on airplane mode. There was just no SIM. This got me 3 days.
Yeah.
So
the battery life is very good on the phones.
Yeah.
Let's quickly talk about what we don't like about the Ultra.
So with the Ultra, we'll do some pros and cons. We'll start with what we don't like.
Yeah.
So for me, the first day I was really impressed by it. It was nice. For me, it's just, and this is not something you feel, I know that. For me, it's just too sharp. Like, the corners are sharp, and you saw that almost fell out of my hand almost. The corners, they're better than the Notes. When, I even saw close-up pictures.
Yeah.
These are slightly rounded. The Notes was more like an oval, but they're still sharp. I feel like this phone is very slippery if you use it like this with no case or anything. And when you do add a case to it, this is my sort of gripe with it in a way, is like, because you're not going to not use a case on something that's this expensive.
Yeah.
The cases sometimes, depending on the certain manufacturers, will poke you because the plastic seams and stuff, but it just makes it a little bit too big. Albeit, it's not a bad phone. It's comfortable. When you're two-handing, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's wide, but we'll get into the pros in a minute. So for me, it's more so, again, camera-based. Other than that, I don't have any issues with it because Samsungs have gotten really boring, which also means they've gotten pretty good and consistent.
Yeah. So, for me, the cons are the camera. Everything that we discussed that's a con with those is the only con that I have. I don't find it pokey into my hand.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just more used to it.
That's also subjective.
It's totally subjective. I find it very comfortable to hold.
Yeah.
Even with the case on, obviously two-handed use is way better.
Amazing.
Way better. And just something as simple as watching a YouTube video on this screen is just phenomenal.
Because it's square. And it's meant to be.
It's meant to be in this form, and it's nearly perfect, right? So I don't think that they got anything wrong with this phone. But I do think that Samsung all across the board has issues with their cameras.
Yeah, and more so because of the shutter speed. Otherwise, the camera quality is good.
Camera quality and the amount of detail it's gathering is amazing.
Yeah.
But when you can't put it together, that's the problem.
Like, you saw the pictures I sent you of my son.
Yeah.
They were, to say that they came out of this in its highest capacity to capture detail.
You would not be impressed with the pictures.
Yeah, and
it's just not good.
Yeah, and I'm not going to put my son's pictures on the screen, but maybe there's a couple we can throw up on there. So to transition a little bit, to bring it back to sort of 2 iterations and then the 1 iteration ago. When the S20 Ultra came out, the first Ultra smartphone that Samsung created, you grabbed it.
Yeah.
And it also had major focus problems.
Major issues.
Let alone shutter problems. So its camera, its whole hype about being the craziest camera in the world was a fail.
Yeah.
Then a year later, they released the S21 Ultra, which I have a special edition titanium color here. This one nailed it. Yeah. It had shutter lag as well, but it's still, like, because of everything else that was good with it, that started to sort of fall into sort of like the wayside because it was just so nice.
I have to say shutter lag has been a problem from day one for Samsung.
I agree.
I don't remember it ever having a quick shutter.
Yeah, same. So the shutter thing aside, I actually was able to get my hands on one of these. I got it like way after all of these, which is just, you know, comedy in itself. But in using this, I feel like, just to do a little quick camera thing, this is the Snapdragon 888 processor in here. That does have a little effect on how it captures things, but this is more true to life color.
Yes.
But I will say, even though it's a little bit bright on this, the detail, this picks up detail.
I will also agree with that. Like this one definitely has better detail. It definitely has. They're definitely better cameras.
They are.
So they're very similar in hardware, but this is a much better camera, I would say.
Yeah.
But as we were discussing, I think that what happened is, since Samsung has started catering to the social media crowd, I think that's what's caused this more of a color pop, more of a little bit of an overexposure, more skin smoothing and that kind of stuff. Whereas you don't see that on the iPhone so much. So you know, that being the next biggest rival, you know, that's the one that we're obviously going to compare it to, right? Like the selfies are excellent pictures, but there's a lot of that skin smoothing going on that, you know, I'm not really a huge fan of the skin smoothing.
I agree. And it's on by default. Like, okay, sure, leave it in there as a feature, but turn it off, because some people don't know that it's on.
Yeah, and I think they need to give us the ability to just completely shut that off. Like, just have, you know, I want the processing and stuff, fine, make the picture better, but don't smooth out anything on it.
Yeah.
Like, just leave it as true to life as possible.
Can I say one more thing? This is a real shocker, because we love the haptics of this. Going back to haptics,
yes.
I was really testing, because since the Pixel 6, I started looking into it. Did you know the haptic motor of the S21 Ultra is right here?
Oh yeah. So yeah, there's potential issues with that too, hey?
So here's the thing. So one thing I tried today, and I did this purposefully when my son was taking a nap. Thank God for naps. I turned that haptic sort of response to taking a picture off.
Okay.
Pictures got a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, when you click that shutter, there is that quick haptic that
you feel
it does that quick spin, so it's for sure.
And with these sensors in here, they move. Like if you shake the camera,
the image stabilizing,
the stabilization plus the shutter itself, like it opens and closes, you can hear it shaking. So do you think a vibration motor wouldn't shake that?
Yeah, I'm sure there would be an effect for sure, yeah.
So that's something else I noticed. On the newer Ultras, the haptics changed the way they are shooting, but the haptic motor is right about here, right above where it says Samsung.
Yeah.
And now they're shooting this way, which is on X-axis, whereas this one's shooting this way, like this direction, which is on Z-axis. So this one sounds worse, but it feels better in the hand. Like, it's got good haptics. We love the haptics of that one. So those are sort of our initial thoughts.
I wouldn't complain about the haptics on these though.
Oh, no.
These are all amazing haptics on each one of these.
Yes,
phones. So
100%.
That's why it's not in the cons list. We've definitely made it known when we have issues with haptics. Pixel 6.
Yes, Pixel 6 and anything else. OnePlus.
And OnePlus. Yeah,
So
lots of.
Here's the thing for those people that like the S21 Ultra, but perhaps you felt one, your friend had one, you went to the store, but you couldn't get one, and now you're thinking of what to buy. If you go based on width and thickness, it's the S22 Plus. Okay, it's a little bit less tall, as you can see, but I'm telling you, this is probably my pick this year, and like you wouldn't expect me to be picking something that's not small, right?
And it's kind of weird because my pick would be this one.
Your pick was this.
My pick would be this one.
And for me, sort of, because this is the only phone that gatewayed me into going into large phones.
Yeah.
And now that I felt this, I was going to call it the Note, but the S22 Ultra, I don't hate it. It's not much thicker, but the curves make it feel like it's not as, width-wise thick, but it is thicker. But it's still comfortable. Like there's still, it's a weird.
I think it's amazingly comfortable. If I was to have it, it'd probably still be the Ultra. But my recommendation would be this guy.
This is the best bang for your buck.
The regular S22, just because it's the best bang for the buck.
And you get it in 256.
Yeah.
Because they both come in 256.
Yeah.
And one more thing, the virtual RAM, they have VRAM, so that you can allocate some of your storage to work as virtual RAM. All the new S22 series phones allow you minimum 4 gigs up to 8 gigs.
Yeah.
So you can arguably, if you have the Ultra, take the base 12 and add 8 to get 20 gigs of RAM.
Right.
On this guy, because the new software One UI 4 allows you to do it on the S21 Ultra as well, but only 4 gigs I've seen on here, unless there's one more update which will bring it up to there and will allow more. But as of right now, as of filming, it's only 4 gigs on that one, which base model on this was 12 gigs of RAM, so
yeah,
you're suddenly at 16.
Exactly. If you went with a 512, you got 16 gigs. So I mean, that you don't need any more than that.
No, that's
unless if you're an intense gamer or something like that. But there's no way we're gonna need more RAM than 16 gigs.
So a couple more little things I'm going to mention. This year with the new series and the One UI 4.4 update as well as 4.1, you can now have dual SIM in the North American market on your devices.
Yes.
One is an eSIM, which is a virtual SIM card, so you get 2 IMEIs in there. It's also on the S21 Ultra with the update.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Which is that's an awesome little bonus.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys,
yeah,
I'd say that's the review.
Yes.
Phones are near perfect. Just 1 or 2 issues with each of them all across the board. I don't think there's anything more to add to that.
Only that we want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think we're out to lunch, or are you going to be helped by our honest opinion here?
Yeah.
Tell us in the comments. Please share this video with anybody you feel like would find it, beneficial if they're looking to purchase this, or just share it put it in random places just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Like the video if you like it, and definitely subscribe to our channel if you're a first-time viewer. If you're a viewer that's been here before, why aren't you subscribed?
Yeah. And to the ones that have been following us and subscribed, thank you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you.
One of you who is subscribed and supporting us is getting this later today.
Yes. So that's a special bonus that we might start doing on a more regular basis.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
All right, man.
Peace out.
Peace out.